Good afternoon. Welcome to today's session, ANZ School Library Series, ANZ Reference Centre Plus. My name is Rachel Lowe, and I'm an EBSCO training specialist. My background is in education, midwifery, and library and information studies. I'm a certified librarian, and I continue to practice clinically as a registered midwife. Please note that today's session is being recorded. You may have noticed that your microphone has been automatically muted. If you have any questions as we're going along, please hit the raise hand icon at the bottom of your screen or go ahead and type your message into the chat box. Please don't feel like you need to wait until the end of the session to ask any questions. Feel free to jump in anytime. A bit later on this afternoon, you will be receiving from me an email with a link to the recording of today's session, a copy of the PowerPoint slides, and a link to an online evaluation. The online evaluation only takes a couple of minutes to complete, and if you're able to take the time to do so, we do appreciate it. Each one we receive is read through carefully, and we use them to help structure future training sessions. I've put together a few objectives for today's session. It is my hope that by the end of the session, you will be able to describe and navigate ANZ Reference Centre Plus or Australia New Zealand Reference Centre Plus. You'll be able to access content, work with results, and you'll be able to describe and navigate the ANZ Reference Centre Plus companion eBook collection. And that includes browsing and searching for ebooks, reading ebooks online or downloading for offline reading, comparing and contrasting the EPUB and PDF ebook formats, and also understanding how you can save, email, and print portions of an ebook. And you will also be able to locate relevant help and support materials. So what is Australia New Zealand Reference Centre Plus? This is a resource that's been designed for libraries in Australia and New Zealand. It's a multidisciplinary database. It provides the largest full text collection of leading regional and international periodicals, reference ebooks, biographies, news content, and images. It contains in-depth biographies to assist students in completing research papers and projects about well-known regional personalities. Now, ANZ Reference Centre Plus can be accessed on a number of interfaces. So you can access it on EBSCOhost, Explorer, and EDS. However, for a lot of what we do today, we will be accessing ANZ Reference Centre Plus on Explorer. And if you'd like more information about the differences between the interfaces, please reach out to me and I can send you a recording of last week's session where we looked at this. So when you're accessing a database, no matter what interface you access it on, you still have access to the same information. It is just laid out differently. If you'd like to follow along with today's session, I'll just pop that link in the chat box. Sorry, just bear with me a moment. Okay, so I'm just popping that link in the chat box. And if you click on that, you'll be able to log in. And the login is demo_schools. And the password is train. And just keep in mind the T is capitalized and it's actually a 1 instead of the I, and there's an exclamation point. But I'll just type those in as well. So the login is demo_schools. And the password is capital TRA, the number 1, N, and an exclamation point. So if you'd like to follow along, please go ahead and click on that link and enter demo_schools and the password capital TRA, the number 1, the letter N, and an exclamation point. All right, and I'm just going to hop over to Explorer now. And I'll just swap to my browser. So this is what the Explorer user interface looks like, and I'm accessing Australia New Zealand Reference Centre Plus. Now, you will be able to, if you click on that above the search bar, it will tell you what databases are available on your profile. And of course, different organizations will have different databases and things available. So you do have the option of searching multiple databases, but for the purposes of today, for now, we're on Explorer and we're going to be searching Australia New Zealand Reference Centre Plus. A little bit later on in the session, we'll also look at exploring this database on a different user interface, which is EBSCO host, because I'm very aware that different organizations will be using different interfaces. So with Explorer, as you can see, it defaults to always searching for full text, but this can be unselected. Now you will also notice here, you have your, there will be a popular topic, and this will change. You will notice at different times there will be a different topic there. So it's a topic overview, and you can also discover popular topics here. As you scroll past this, this is where you can partake in topic exploration. So there will be a number of different categories listed. There will also be featured content, a spotlight towards the bottom, and then featured collection. So let's have a quick look at each of these. Currently, the topic is electrical currents, and if I click on this, it performs a search for me. Now you will notice that in your search results, it defaults to all results, and there's 730 results here. If I wanted to just filter to articles, I can do that very easily. I can also very easily filter to eBooks, to reference, and to videos. Okay, let's just try that again. All right. Now, you also have the option of selecting other filters here. So if you're looking at a publication date filter, your most commonly used filters are listed there. So you can very easily search to just the last 12 months, the last 5 years, the last 10 years, and you can also very easily look at just particular source types. If I click on three more, I can see all of those. For more filters, if you click on all filters, that slides out from the right-hand side. Here you can put in more specific publication dates. As we saw here, these were just the most commonly used, but you can look at specific dates here. You can also look at what databases you're searching. Of course, I am only searching Australia New Zealand Reference Centre Plus. If you had others you were searching, you could limit here just to whichever ones. You can also limit your source types there, and it shows you how many of each of those are in our current results list. So in our current results list of 730, 397 of those are domestic newspapers. We've got international newspapers and so on. Now you can also limit by subject. And if you're not familiar with subject, if we look at our results list here, for each one, you have the type of publication it is. This is a peer-reviewed academic journal article, and it gives us the title. It gives us the author's names. You will notice this is all hyperlinked text. This is in the Lancet on this date, and it's in the Australia New Zealand Reference Centre Plus database. There's a description or abstract here. If you click Show More, you can see the whole thing. Now you will notice that words to do with our search terms are in italics and boldface. And you will also notice that each article has been tagged with a number of subjects. So this one's been tagged with cervical cancer diagnosis, medical equipment, electrical impedance tomography, and so on. So as you scroll down, you can see that these have all been tagged with a number of subjects. Now you will notice this is all hyperlinked text. So for example, this has been tagged with green fuels. If I click on green fuels, I run a search for articles tagged with green fuels. Okay, so when you're looking at your filters, you can limit by subject or filter by subject. So what these mean is that in our current results list of these 63 articles that have been tagged with green fuels, these are the subjects that they've been tagged with. So 12 have been tagged with hydrogen as fuel, 8 have been tagged with clean energy, and so on. There's also Lexile range, and this is to do with reading level, which can be really helpful for school libraries. And also, you can see the publications that these are coming from. So for example, if I were only interested in articles from New Scientist magazine, I could tick that box and apply. And I'm sorry, I seem to be having an issue today. It's not great timing, but there you go. Okay, and if I want to see what filters apply, I can click on all filters and we can see those here. So I am just looking at articles from New Scientist magazine. I'm looking at full text and I can get rid of either of those just by clicking on the X. If I click on the title of an article, this gives me what's called the detailed record, and here I can access a whole lot of bibliographic information. I've got the title, I've got the authors, I've got the source, comes from New Scientist magazine, tells me the issue. The subjects that the article's been tagged with are there. There's an abstract and so on. It tells me how I can access full text. There's online full text. And there's a number of icons here. If ever you're unsure what one means, just hover your cursor. So I can save this. There's a great citation tool with the drop-down menu of citation formats. So for those students who are starting to dip their toe into citation, this can be really helpful. You can also export citations using EndNote and EasyBib and that kind of thing. You can add to project, you can share, and you can download. Now, if I click on online full text, that will open up the online full text for me. With online full text, you'll notice as I'm scrolling, there are no page breaks. So this is a bit different to PDF, which is just like printable pages. Now, publication contents, this is related articles. There is a translate function when it's online full text, so you can very easily translate. And there's also a text to speech or listen feature. So you can press play and the entire article is read to you in a computerized voice. You can adjust the playback speed and you can also download as an MP3. There's also some accessibility support information here. All right, if we click on Explorer, this takes us back to the landing page. And you can see that our topic has changed. It's now fireflies. And if I click on it, it will run a search for fireflies again, as we've seen with electrical current. Now with the popular topics, if I were to click on solar power, for example, that brings that here. As I mentioned, you can explore topics. So if you have a student that's interested in sports and hobbies, there's a number of subtopics here. Let's look at athletes and let's look at baseball. And here are some results. So it's a great way for students to browse information. We've got our featured content, a spotlight here. If you click on Learn More, that will run a search for you. You also have access to natural language search. That is something that you do need to request is enabled, but there is no charge associated with that. With natural language search, you can go ahead and type in a question or a comment in natural language. For example, I could type in how does, and here we go, there's some popular searches there. How does social media affect mental health? And that's going to run a search for me. And if you click on Show Refined Query, it shows you how the search engine has put that search together. So if you're someone who's interested in what the Boolean operators are, where those brackets were put, and so on, it actually has that for you there. Now you will notice at times you have multiple ways of accessing. The article we just looked at was only accessible via online full text, but on occasion you will have PDF full text as well. And if I click on that, this opens up the PDF. And we're all familiar with PDF format. It looks just like a printed page. So here you do have page breaks and page numbers. And again, we have these features here that we've already looked at: citing, saving, sharing, and so on. When you have PDF full text, you do not have a translate function, but you do have that listen function. So you can still download an MP3 and have the entire article read to in a computerized voice. And also your publication contents are your related topics. And if you click on one of those, it will open that for you. So again, great way for students to browse what they're looking for. Okay. Now down the left-hand side, you have your research tools. You can go to a new search. There's curriculum standards there. There's citation help, research guides, and so on. Now you can also click on advanced search. So for those who are a little bit, okay, and it's logged me off. Just bear with me a moment. Okay, if you go to advanced search, you do have that ability to do some more complex searching. So you have your multiple fields and you can add more. You have your Boolean operators and so on. So for those more advanced researchers, they are able to do more complex searching. You also have the ability to use field codes, and I'm just going to click on new search there and go back to advanced search. So you do have the ability to search via fields. For example, if you know the author that you're looking for, if you know the name of the journal, and so on. So for example, if I know I want to search for Time Magazine, I can put in the 2-letter code for source and run a search that way. And each of these, you can see, are articles from Time Magazine. All right, now I do want to talk about the Australia-New Zealand eBook collection. This is a companion collection to Australia-New Zealand Reference Centre Plus, and it has more than 200 titles. So this collection contains reference books from reputable local publishers, and it also gives you unlimited simultaneous access, which means that there is no limit on the number of students who can be accessing these at the same time. And there's just some sample titles here, but for the full list, I'll just pop that in the chat box as well. Okay. And I'll send that out in the email I send you this afternoon, and you can access that. Now, this is something that does have to be requested, but it is a companion collection, and there's no charge available with it. If you need to access it, so if you're a library administrator and you're wondering how to enable that in the back end, there are instructions here, and also how you can provide a link to search both ANZ Reference Centre Plus and the eBook collection at the same time. Now, the eBook collection can be accessed on a number of interfaces. So you can have it on your Explorer, on your EBSCO host, and also on your EDS. So I'll just go ahead and bring it up. Now, I am going to access it in EBSCOhost. So as you can see, I'm in EBSCOhost now. You can see EBSCOhost there. And if I click on all databases, you can see I'm accessing Australia New Zealand Reference Centre Plus, as well as the eBook collection. Now with EBSCOhost, you can see that it looks a little bit different to Explorer. And you can understand why Explorer is probably more widely chosen, certainly for younger school children. So if I want to perform a search here, and you can see I have a huge number of results. I've got my most commonly used filters here. And so from here, if I want to see the ebooks in my results list, I can apply that filter. And you can see there are 16 ebooks here. Now with these, just like we saw when we were looking at Explorer, you've got the title, you've got the authors, and this tells me that it is from the Australia New Zealand Reference Centre Plus ebook subscription. Again, if you click on the title, this takes you into that detailed record. You're able to download various chapters. And you will notice the permissions with different books will be different. It's not always going to be the same. If you want help with permissions, you can just click on that question mark and that will open in a new tab. And an article in EBSCO Connect comes up and it talks about viewing publisher permissions. So some publishers will allow you to download, print, email, and save the entire book. Sometimes that's limited to one page. Sorry, I've just had a question. Someone's asked me if this is the full list of ebooks available. It's not the full list of ebooks available from EBSCOhost, but it is the list of books available from the Australia New Zealand Reference Centre Plus companion collection. Okay, and here we've got the title, the description, and so on. You can also look at individual chapters. And to access the book, you just need to click on Access Now. And that opens up the EBSCO ebook reader. And you can read. Now, some of these can be downloaded for offsite access or offline access, I'm sorry. And it will tell you. So for example, is the full ebook download available? Yes, it requires Adobe Digital Editions to read the ebook. If you're not familiar with Adobe Digital Editions, it is free software that you can use to download ebooks. Okay, and if I go to new search, I did just briefly want to touch on the different formats that you will find ebooks available in. So there is EPUB and PDF. I'm sure we're all familiar with PDF. It's like a static image of a page. So it looks just like a printable page in a book. EPUB is a little bit different. EPUB is what we refer to as reflowable text. So it changes its size and shape to fit your screen. It was actually designed for mobile devices like iPads and tablets and mobile phones and that kind of thing. So I'm sure you've had the experience where you've accessed a PDF on a mobile phone and you can enlarge it so you can see it, but then you're having to scroll from side to side. With EPUB, as you enlarge, it actually changes the number of words per line, and you are able to have the entire thing on the screen at all times. But I'll just show you an example of that. So one thing you can type in, if you just want to access ebooks that are in EPUB format, FM for format, and EK is the code for EPUB. So I'm going to go ahead and do a search. And this is showing me the books available in EPUB. And some of them will be both. So this one, for example, you can access it in both PDF full text and EPUB full text. I'll just open up the EPUB full text. We can see our table of contents here. And let's just go to part 3. All right, so what I wanted to show you is that as I zoom in, and let's just move up a bit. Okay, so we can see part 3, how to transform the system. As I am zooming in, I'll just get rid of that table of contents. You can see that the number of words per line is changing so that I can always see the entire thing. I'm not having to scroll from side to side. So you can understand why this would work really well for mobile devices. Whereas if we were to access the PDF version of that same text, and again, we'll go to part 3, you'll notice as I'm scrolling in, it keeps that page static. Okay. So EPUB is really good to know about. And just to bear in mind, these are the codes you can use if you're searching just for ebooks that are available in EPUB format. FM is the 2-letter code for format. EK is the 2-letter code for EPUB. And EB is the 2-letter code for PDF. Now you can do a combined search, as you can see on this slide. If I wanted to search for ebooks about climate change that are available in the EPUB format, I can input the search terms climate change and then FM for format, EK for EPUB. All right. Does anybody have any questions? Well, thank you very much for attending today. I hope you found this session useful. We've had a look at ANZ Reference Centre Plus, and again with the reminder that it can be accessed using the EBSCOhost interface, using the Explorer interface, and using the EBSCO Discovery Service interface. We've also looked at the companion ebook collection, and that can also be accessed on all of those interfaces. We've had a good look at Explorer, and it's easy to understand why that's so popular with school libraries because it really does display the contents of the database nicely. And again, you can access the database on lots of different interfaces. You still have access to the same information. It's just laid out a little bit differently. As I mentioned, you will be receiving an email from me a little bit later on this afternoon with a link to the recording of today's session, a copy of the PowerPoint slides, and a link to an online evaluation. I'll also include a link to the ebook companion collection and a few other things that we've talked about today. Thank you so much for attending.